Happy Project for Awesome! This is my 6th year doing Project for Awesome, and I've always made videos on overseas charities. This year, I wanted to look somewhere closer to home.
I'm from Singapore, a sovereign island city-state in Southeast Asia where everything is built upwards.
Our whole country could fit into Rhode Island 4 times over, and yet we have a population 5 times that of Rhode Island's at 5.7 million people. Of this figure, about 1 million are low-wage foreign workers. They can be largely categorized into 2 groups: migrant workers and migrant domestic workers. Migrant workers work in construction, marine, and manufacturing industries and services. Migrant domestic workers take on a range of jobs including cleaning, cooking, and caretaking. It's difficult to explain the complexities of the Singapore migrant worker situation in just a few minutes, and there are many long-standing questions about how Singapore treats its migrant workers, so I've left more articles and resources below for further context. Foreign workers come to Singapore in the hopes of creating a better life for themselves and for their families back home. Many of them have been here for decades and consider Singapore to be their second home, but their right to live in Singapore is precariously tied to their job. Poor employment protections means that their livelihoods and living conditions are often left in the hands of their employers, making them extremely vulnerable. Even before sending foot in Singapore, they have to pay high recruitment fees. As they earn the lowest wages in Singapore, there's a pressure for them to repay the debt, even if it means remaining in abusive and exploitative conditions. These pre-existing conditions have only been exacerbated by the pandemic.
Most migrant workers live in dormitories. Without legal maximum occupancy rules, in pre-COVID times, it was normal for up to 20 men to share a room. During the lockdown early in 2019, these crowded spaces were the perfect conditions for the virus to spread. A staggering 47% of all migrant workers in the dormitories have been infected, and they make up over 93% of all infections as of December.
In an interview with CNA Insider, some migrant workers expressed a worry and concern during this time, 2 of them being Muhammad and 35-year-old Pugok.
COVID-19 men coming, this man toilet using, cap using, all using this one they touch, then this one must have like.
Right, one by one affected. So I am also very scared. Sick means everybody worry about. If I unlucky, anything happen, right? So my family, how to say, Allah.
While the situation has improved since then, with social distancing and other measures being put in place, many continue to face strict confinement, with reports of being unable to leave their rooms and only having basic meals delivered to them. The industries they work in also have the highest risk of adverse worker health, and injuries aren't uncommon, worried by hefty medical fees, forced repatriation if they are unable to return to work, and unsure of their legal entitlements. For migrant domestic workers, their place of work, their employer's house, is also the place of residence, blurring the lines between work and home. They work long hours, on average 13 hours daily. Even though the Ministry of Manpower stipulates 1 weekly rest day, there is no legal requirement that it should constitute a 24-hour continuous period of rest. Even before COVID, it wasn't uncommon to hear reports of migrant domestic workers being given only a few hours off or none at all. On top of already weak labor protection laws, the lockdown meant spending even longer periods in isolation than employers. In many cases, this saw an increase in workload, restrictions, and surveillance, and in the worst cases, starvation, verbal, physical, and even sexual abuse. The inability to disconnect from work can cause significant mental stress. It also doesn't help that migrant domestic workers are not part of a team and don't have co-workers to joke around or share responsibilities with. The effects of COVID-19 have been catastrophic and long-lasting. The foreign workers are under significant strain, facing uncertainty of termination, loss of salary, and lack of access to shelter and medical care. Those staying here are stranded from their much-needed support networks back home, and there's been an uptick in cases of attempted suicides, deaths, and self-harm. All these factors have contributed to overwhelming feelings of helplessness and loss. This is where HOME steps in. The Humanitarian Organization for Migrant Economics, or HOME, is a Singapore-based charity founded in 2004 dedicated to supporting and empowering migrant workers who suffer abuse and exploitation. They have been crucial in providing immediate relief efforts through the shelter, helplines, and casework support, as well as the distribution of food and medical supplies. This is in addition to their long-term projects to enhance the migrant workers' well-being and future economic prospects. They operate specialized help desks where trained caseworkers and volunteers offer advice to workers unsure of their rights and options. Their employment advice, legal aid, financial assistance, and medical services help approximately 2,000 workers every yeir. Their shelter houses 50 workers at any time and is a refuge for 700 domestic workers annually, many in the process of seeking legal recourse or resolving disputes with their employers.
My case is physical abuse. My employer never let me to call my family until my baby passed away, then never let me know. So I waiting in the home is 14 months, a bit longer.
Home also provides the opportunity to upgrade their skills in their educational and vocational training programs. This includes English language classes, computer literacy, financial literacy, baking, and caregiving, amongst many others. Home also actively advocates for migrant workers' rights by increasing awareness through public education and campaigns and working with relevant authorities to strengthen legal systems. Their work has led to changes to laws and policies. Migrant workers are invaluable members of our community and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. To take care of one of our own, please help me support Home. You can do so by voting for this video on the P4A website, linked below.
Thank you and happy P4A!